Hello one and all, and welcome to the energy updates here on the Astroflower. We're going to be going into the chakra sequencing and also the message from the earth today. And also I wanted to talk about what last week as well, the energy update and the message from the earth and how it sort of transpired in my life as well over the past weekend with all those flares, all that energy that was coming through from the sun that's to do with the fire and the air. So without further ado, let's get on into it.
Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.
The sun hasn't been particularly active. Yeah, we're in height solar maximum, so therefore we're going to get a few more ups and downs. There was a few M flares that came off the sun, but nothing really significant. More the thing that played in anything else was the coronal holes. But we're going to go a lot more into the depth of about pole shift energy and the sun and the rhythm of the sun in a video that's coming out tomorrow. But today we're just going to go through those energy sequencing, the chakra sequencing and the message from the earth. But first of all, I just wanted to explain for me personally what that experience was from last week. From that message, it sort of came through from the earth. It was something to do with healing and to do with, getting our ducks in a row, getting things in order and what have you. And the thing that transpired for me personally over the weekend, the last weekend, and I think this is to do with that blue moon that came through on Sunday as well, on the 19th, which was in Aquarius, the full moon in an Aquarius, on the new moon in Aquarius, or whatever it was. And this is about the shape of things to come, and that's also another video that's going to be coming out tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about that in another video tomorrow. But with all of that in mind, and as I am a Capricorn as well, because Capricorns have they've got this sort of bee in their bonnet about Pluto that we've had over the last 16 years, and it's finally going out of Capricorn and into Aquarius this autumn. And it was preparing for that sort of transition, I think, and I think everybody's going into that, preparing for that sort of transition. And for me personally, I had a weekend where, a weekend of forgiveness. I've had an interesting last 5 years, there's no doubt about it. It certainly hasn't been the smoothest of 5 years, got to be honest. There's been a lot of transitional sort of stuff going on in my life, on my personal life and on my professional life, and lots of different things. And sometimes in transition, it's difficult to understand or to keep pace with the change, and also to sort of integrate it into our lives. And with that difficulty sometimes comes misunderstandings. So I spent the weekend forgiving myself. I hadn't done anything wrong. There were certain confrontations within my personal life over the past sort of 5 years. And I managed to sort of get myself to a position where I forgave myself for any of my misdoings. And sometimes it's difficult to see that in the moment of doing it. And it's so true. In hindsight, it's so much easier to sort of see what we've done and the effect that it's had upon us and had upon other people that are around us. And self-forgiveness is really important, I think, for this next stage going forward. And it's not as it seems. Self-forgiveness is obviously forgiving oneself and just pulling those ideas back of where we recognize where we didn't get it completely right, and recognizing our shortcomings as a person. And that's the way we learn. And if we can't recognize it, then we're not going to learn. So I learned a lot over the weekend about what I'd done to the best of my ability and what other things that I could have done better and so forth. But at the same time, and this was the interesting thing about it, it was also a moment of putting my témoignage in French, my witness. So I gave witness to the situation, because if other people around me who are connected with me also want to forgive themselves in the whole sort of scenario, and don't be blind to the idea that it's not my fault, it was their fault. There's always going to be some degree of responsibility taken from both sides. So if that pardon, if that person can, or these people, because it wasn't just one person, or the situations, if we can't find, if we're looking for forgiveness in that, we have to accept the witness of everybody that is concerned by that sort of situation. And I felt like I was giving witness as well to the situation, as much as giving myself healing more than anything else. And it produced an energy that was incredibly liberating. And within that liberation, I regained this energy of a kid. I've never really lost, but it's a lot easier to let go and enjoy the moment. So that's what it brought for me. It was a really beautiful weekend of learning and understanding and quantifying that in our own personal life. Certainly for me, I hope it was the same for you over the past week for that. So I just thought I'd give you my heads up on how it sort of like played out for me last weekend, the shot across the bow, as I was explaining. And it really was that. The energy that came through from the sun had a lot of potential to change a lot of things, but it sort of fizzled out in the end once it got to Earth. And that could well have something to do with this sort of Aquarius moon as well that went through on the 19th in particular. And we'll go into a lot more depth on that on the video that's coming out tomorrow. But in the meantime, the line, I've been testing the line. The line seems to be in a very calm and consistent state of being, without any sort of extremes. That's what it seems to be. It seems to be in a really good way of energy more than anything else. A very consistent type of energy that's going on. Okay, so we're just going to, let me just put this out. As you can well see, we're in this lovely cloître. I don't know if you can see the church. No, you can't quite see the church in our local town here. So it's a beautiful sort of place. We've got the male line that's running just through us here into there. The female line sort of goes that way like that, and the male line is going like that. So we're sort of sat up on the male line. Let's just see, get the connection there. Okay, so there we go. We've got the connection. Let's just get to see this chakra sequencing going on. There it is, hitting there straight away, the connection. It's quite an abrupt connection, to be honest. It plays up to the crown chakra and the root chakra at the same time, where that's sort of just setting the vertical energy, as it were, which is really nice, which often always has to happen before anything else. And then the solar plexus plays in. Now, the solar plexus is being a little bit heavy there is no doubt about it. And then the throat chakra plays in. The throat chakra is a little bit more sort of smarty in a way. It sort of like stings a little bit. We've got the third eye that follows it through, because the third eye and the throat chakra are connected to one another. And that third eye is dealing with lots of heavy issues by the looks of it, by the feel of it. And let's just see where it goes from there. It's going into the sacrum, so it's all about the fundamental choices that need to be coming out of this. it goes back to the beginning. So there's no real heart in it at all. There was a little bit as it went through, but nothing really major. And the way it sort of seemed to be is like there seems to be a vertical energy that's now getting onto almost determination, where we've got to have this sort of confidence in ourselves to actually step forward into the future, step forward into the bright sunshine, as it were. And I think that's what our chakra sequencings are putting us into that sort of play. The only thing to be wary of is with that throat chakra, is it's sort of like stinging a little bit. That's the best way to describe it. Be careful of what you say before you say it. So be very attentive about the sort of things that you want to say. I think that's what that chakra is all about. And it's waiting for the clarity of vision, internal vision, where we can put in a little bit of the logic and have a little bit more sort of balance within our chakra system. So then we can apply that logic to what we want to say. So I would be, I wouldn't say things straight off the cuff at the moment for this sort of coming week, as it were. I'll be very sensitive about the longer term conversation that is within you before you actually say things. And then it went back down to the sacrum, and I think this is where it's basically sort of asking us to sort of see how our fundamental desires sits with what we see as a vision for our individual future and our collective future. And that's what seemed to be the connection between all the chakras. That's what the sequencing seems to be happening for us. I'm just being chucked out at the moment, so I'll be back with you in a second. So sorry about that. There was a young priest that was adamant that the cloisters had to close, and that's that church just behind me there that you can see. That's the goes from there all the way across to there. So I've had to move to another point on the energy line. I'm staying with the Mao line though, on there, and we're smack bang on it, which is really nice. So we're just going to get ourselves a message from the earth. Is there anything I needed to say about the chakra sequencing? Yeah, it was all about something about, I wanted to say something about how we connect our fundamental desires to the vision that we've got. And don't be fooled, or don't fool ourselves in that whole sort of scenario. Be sure about our expectations for ourselves, then we'll be very much more clearer on the expectations for the world that is around us. So, I think that's the main thing that sort of really comes out of it, and also just being wary of saying things before, before we've allowed a breath to happen, as it were. So let's just get on with the message from the earth. Let's see that. We're just in the connection now, and just behind you, where you're watching from, is the crossing point of the main crossing point that I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be using the crossing point behind us because there's far too much connotations going on with town planning. I prefer to use that as a crossing point because it seems to be a lot more sort of clean as an entry point for the to go into the centre of the earth. So without further ado, just connecting now to the energy of the earth. There we go. We go start with the chakra sequencing that's starting to come through, which is really quite nice. Just connecting to that earth energy there. And now I'm just going to use that line of energy to displace myself, or my spirit as it were. And there it is. I'm coming up to the crossing point, seeing the vortex in the middle of the crossing point, and descending down in through the outer layers of the earth, through to the center of the earth. And there we are with the plasma ball in front of us. It seems to be purple in colour, which is really nice. It's very interesting. There seems to be a seriousness about the place as well. More than anything else, it's like very noble in a way. Let's just see now what's going on with that. Let me just go to the plasma ball there, up to the plasma ball, and there we go. It's very recharging. Shaking my crown chakra like no tomorrow. That's really lovely. The thing I'm getting out of this is, it's almost as if like there's a spiritual sort of redemption, almost like a day of judgment in a way that we now know. And you don't have to ask questions anymore. You just need to be and know. And feeling that pathway that is in front of you. Once you know that pathway in front of you, then really be that pathway more than anything else. Be that person. Be that type of person, or that to live that experience that you have set your heart or you've set your soul to live. It's your raison d'etre for being here on planet Earth. And you're not alone, which is really nice, of course. At no point is anybody on your pathway, and you are not on anybody else's pathway. But you may have times where you have pathways that are next to one another, and may have that sensation that you're in exactly the same pathway, but it's not. It always is your individual path. But just know that there are other people that are heading in the same direction as you. In a case of just applying that knowing in life. So thank you very much, the Earth, for that. I'm just waiting now, looking at the general energies that's going around. There's the connection, there's my vortex that's coming through. There is a vortex which I'll need to have a look at, which is all about pole shift as well. That seems to be changing. There's my vortex. Come back out the top of the connection point, coming back up the line towards me, and they're back in the body. I can feel a lot more the body now. And when you get to a certain age, you can certainly feel it, but I can feel my body a lot more now. So that's cool. Back in place. So it's all a case of knowing. I trust you. I trust you know what's good for you. And I think that's a good starting point. If we can just trust the other person to know what's good for them, I think that's really, really good. Beautiful sunset that's going on down there. Absolutely lovely. Really nice to feel it. Oh, blimey. Really nice to feel it. It's a beautiful day today in the Northern Hemisphere. I don't know what it's like in the Southern Hemisphere. Be interesting to see what you had as experiences last weekend, any sort of epiphanies you might have had, or revelations about life, as it were, and how you can apply it in the future. Tomorrow we've got a video coming out on the energy of the moon, that Aquarian moon, and also a video about pole shift energy as well. Okay, you've got your weekly readings coming out this week. Don't forget, on Thursday is the earth signs, Friday water signs, Saturday fire signs, and Sunday air signs. Okay, yes, thank you very much for all the support you give to this channel. Absolutely adorable to see. I will see you soon. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.